Hello my lovelies, welcome back to my channel. This is your girl Angel from Simply Angel Tia. In this video we are going to be working on this granny stitch skirt, long one, so it goes all the way down, so it's a maxi skirt. I am doing a lot of these long skirts these days. I promise I'll be getting back into doing the short ones as well. And as you can see, I do this long. If you want to do it shorter, it's absolutely something that you can adjust just the way you start really quick. I talk a little bit about it in the video, but there's no problem with doing it as shorter than what I'm doing here, or even mid-length, okay? But this is what we're going to be working on. I'm going to be using these three colors as you see here: the off-white, the light blue, and then the navy blue. You can absolutely use different colors that you want. You can put them in different orders. It's just however you want to do with your order of colors. You can even do this whole thing in a solid color, but however, I think using different colors like this kind of make the project pop and make you kind of like, you know, see the creativity. So yeah, I chose to do these three colors. I'm gonna go ahead and grab all the materials that I need, and I'll go ahead and talk about them so we can go ahead and get started. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so for this video I'm going to be using these three colors as you've seen on the project. So I have my off-white here, so it's from Azurite by Timid. It's 100% acrylic. It's a lightweight number 3. A skein like this has 50 grams, or about, give and take, 140 meters. The recommended hook size is 3.5 to 4 millimeter crochet hook. And as you can see, this one is a little bit different. So this is the same as this, so I'm not going to give you any information because it's just a color difference. But for this one here, it's a little bit different. It is We Heart yarn by Hobby. It's 100% acrylic. Again, for the amount of yarn you get per skein, it's about 50 grams, or a little bit more than the other one, which is give and take 150 meters. Okay, and for this one, the recommended hook size is a little bit different. It's 4 to 5 millimeter crochet hook. And as you can see, again, this one here is a navy blue, light blue, and then the off-white. Okay, however, I'm using a 5 millimeter crochet hook. This is just a preference. I prefer to use this, especially if I'm doing the granny stitch. This works a lot better. I have my darning needle here, and as well as my scissors to cut my strands. And of course, I have my tape measure for determining the sizes. Okay, all right, so with that said, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Okay, my lovely, so we're gonna go ahead and start with the project. So with my three colors that I just showed you, I'm going to be working the white off white first, and then we're gonna do the light blue, and then the navy blue is gonna be the last part that we do. And we're gonna start this. So in terms of the length, I'm doing mine as a maxi, so it's a long skirt that goes all the way down. And because of that, I'm gonna start with a very long foundation chain, so I'll explain that. Okay, so but first, the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna start by doing our magic circle, because we're gonna do a few granny stitches here. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and do my magic circle and then chain 3. And then in the circle here, I'm gonna do 2 double crochets. So the chain 3 counts as a double crochet, and then I will add another double crochet, and that makes it 3, just like that. And then I will chain 1, and then I will put 2 more double crochets into the magic circle. Okay, so that's 2, and then that's 3. Oops. Okay, and now that I have that, I'm gonna go ahead and just pull the circle here closed, and we're gonna go ahead and do a chain 1, and then we're gonna slip stitch on top of the chain 3 that we created to begin the row with. And I'm just gonna do this like that. Okay, so these 2 granny stitches here are gonna be part of one of our side as we work across. And so what I will do is I will start by doing a long chain, and my chain is gonna be based on the length of your skirt. So if you're doing a long skirt, you do a long chain. If you do a medium length skirt, then you do a medium type of chain, and then if you do a short skirt, you do a short one. So with my calculations, I'm gonna start by doing a chain of 79, and this chain of 79 is going to be multiples of 3 plus 1 at the end. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and just start by doing the 79 chain. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is my chain of 79 here, and this is going to pretty much be where I start the squares in here, and then I build it up as I go like this. Okay, so we're gonna get our rectangle at the end. Okay, so now that I have that, I'm just gonna pivot my work so I can work down the chain. So like I said, my 79 is multiples of 3 up to 78, and then I add one more chain because of how I'm gonna start. So I'm gonna explain to you here. So the 79th chain is this one. So we're gonna skip 1, 2, 3. So we're gonna skip 3 here to create our first double crochet. So I'm gonna go ahead and just yarn over, go in the back of that double crochet, and there, sorry, of the chain, and then do a double crochet. So my chain 3 here counts as a double crochet, and then now I have 1, and then I'm gonna add a second one into that same stitch to make it 3. So this is the first granny stitch that I have here. And then so now I'm gonna skip 2s. Okay, so now it makes sense why I did one extra chain, because we skipped 3 here, and then for the rest of the work here we're gonna skip 2 and work in the third, skip 2, work in the third, which is our multiples of 3. Okay, and so what I will do is go 1, 2, and in this third stitch I'm gonna go ahead and grab the back part of the chain and complete 3 double crochets into that same stitch. Okay, so 2 and 3, and then I'm gonna skip 1, 2, and in this third stitch I'm gonna go in the back and complete my 3 double crochets into the same stitch. Okay, so now this is what you do all the way going down the chain, and you're gonna end up all the way down here. So go ahead and do that, and when you get back down here, finish your final cluster of 3 double crochets, and then come back to the video, and I'll go ahead and show you how to work the next part of this. Okay, so go ahead and do that, and I will see you guys when you get to the end here. Okay, my lovelies, so I have done my granny stitches, just going towards where we started off the chains here. So as you can see, I have my 2 stitches that I will skip here. So what I will do is I have these 2 granny stitches that I started with earlier. So what I will do is right here, there's the chain 1 that we connected the 2 sides with. I'm gonna go into that space here, and I'm gonna complete 3 double crochets. So I'm gonna create a granny stitch right there. Okay, just like that. And then I'm gonna go ahead and just skip these 3 double crochets that we had here, and I'm gonna go right to the chain 1 space in between, and I'm gonna do 3 double crochets just like that. And then because I want this to be a corner right here, I'm gonna chain 1, and I'm gonna do 3 more double crochets into that gap. So I'm creating a corner here because we need to do a corner for our square, or for our triangle, in other words. Okay, so like that. So this is my corner here, and then I need 2 corners in this part of the project. So I'm just gonna skip these remaining 3 double crochets that we had here, and I'm gonna go into this gap here. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and do a corner here as well. So I will complete 3 double crochets. Oops, I hope I'm not off camera here, I cannot see my screen. And then chain 1, and then I will do 3 more double crochets into that same gap. Okay, so this is my second corner, and we need these corners here so that when we come back up from completing this row, we will have a corner to be able to work into. Now, as you can see, the corner doesn't look quite straight. Here, as you can see, this is one of my corner, looks like it's higher than this. It's just the way this works. It's gonna end up kind of, you know, straightening itself as you go. So if you do see that, do not panic. Okay, so that's my 2 corners here, and now I have these 3 double crochets here, which is the stitches that I went into these last when we came from this side. I did it here, and then I went into the gap here. So we need to make sure that we do the same here. So there's this little gap here, right here. that I'm gonna do 3 double crochets into that, because we want our stitches to match on one side compared to the other side. So that's 2 and 3. Okay, so I will just take off the hook here so you can see, so that the top here is gonna look something like that, corner, corner, and then this stitch matches here. There's gonna be a stitch here to match that, there's gonna be a stitch here to match that, and as we go down, we do it like that. So let me just do a few stitches here, and then I will have you guys go all the way to the end of that. Okay, so very easy, but you have to pay attention where you put your stitches, because otherwise you may create work that is a little bit wonky or a little bit crooked. So you just have to make sure, for example, especially here, this cluster here matches with this, and then the corner matches with the corner. As long as you match it like that, you're good. So I'm gonna go into this space, so the same space where I did my 3 double crochets on the opposite side, I'm gonna go into that same stitch and do 3 double crochets on this side. So 1, 2 and 3. Okay, so now this here matches with this, that matches with that, and then the corner matches with the corner. And then I'm gonna jump right into the next gap right here, or the next space where I did the last 3 double crochets on the opposite side, and I'm gonna do 3 double crochets on this side to match up with that. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and do the same on this side. And then this is pretty much what you do all the way down to the bottom. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and work my double crochets and make sure you're matching them into the gaps like this to match all the way down. When you reach the last one right here, come back to the video and I will show you how to finish that final cluster, and then how to start the next row, which is going to be our second row. Okay, so I will see you guys when you get there. Okay, lovelies, so I have done my granny stitches on the opposite side of our work, which is our second row. Okay, so now I am going to finish off this row with you and start the second. Okay, so again, we're just matching up our stitches like this, so that the exact opposite on the opposite side. So there's no exception with these here. We're gonna go right into this gap here and just go ahead and do 3 double crochets. Okay, so there's nothing that changes with this part of the work here. So you go ahead and finish this, and then so that completes our second row. So this is how your second row should look like. Now again, this is for a maxi skirt, so it's long skirt. If you wanted it to be smaller or for a shorter skirt, maybe you would have had just half of this to start with. If you wanted a medium, maybe, or like a medium length, maybe you would have just done 3/4 of this length here. But this is pretty much what you have for a long skirt, and it's going to depend on your length too. So you would probably want to make sure you work the rest of the work to be able to come off to the exact size that you want at the end, okay, based on how many rows you do. Okay, so for the second row, we're going to start by doing a chain of 3. So all of your rows are going to start with a chain of 3. You're going to turn, and then you're going to go directly into this gap here. So you're skipping these 3 stitches, and you're going to do your granny stitch right there. So you're doing 3 double crochets into that gap. Okay, so just like this, and then you're going to move on to the next gap. So at this point on, we're going to go between our stitches here. So between our clusters of 3 double crochets is where you're going to put your next double granny stitch. From the previous row, the gap is where you're going to put the 3 double crochets from this row, and then you're just going to continue doing it like that. Okay, so again, I'm going to have you guys work the rest of the length here, and then come back when you have reached the end of this side, so this opposite of this side, not the opposite side, and then come back to the video. So what I'm talking about is work your granny stitches all the way to here. When you've done your last 3 here, come back to the video. I will show you one more time how to work on this section here, and then we will finish the other side, and then we will talk a little bit about how many rows we're doing and how we're going to be changing the colors. Okay, so I will see you guys when you get to this part right here. Okay, lovely. So I have reached the spot where I say to reach and come back so I can show you. So as you can see, I just did my last 3 double crochets here, and now we're gonna do a 3 double crochet. So as you can see here, there's this gap that we have here. We're gonna go ahead and count 1 2 3. So after that third stitch in the gap, we're just gonna go into the space in between the next stitch and that stitch, and we're going to complete 3 double crochets just like that. Okay, and so now we're going to work into the corner. So this is the corner that we have here, which is where the chain 1 is, and we're just gonna go right into that space and complete 3 double crochets. So that's 2, chain 1, and then 3 more double crochets into the same stitch. This is the corner that we need to create every time that we do a round or a row. Okay, so now this is my corner right here, and then we have this gap in between this the corner and here. We're gonna do 3 double crochets there. So where there is no corner, we just do regular 3 double crochets in the same space. And then now I have my corner right here, so I'm going to complete 3 double crochets. So 1 2 and 3, and then chain 1, and then 3 more into that same space. So this is going to create my second corner. So we're gonna have 2 corners on top here and 2 corners in the bottom. Okay, like that. And then I'm going to move on, and so now I have this gap here. I'm gonna go right into that gap and complete 3 double crochets. So that's just regular one, is not a corner. And then I'm going to go right into this gap here, and I'm gonna complete 3 double crochets. Okay, just like that. And then move on to the next gap and do 3 double crochets. So now we just repeat exactly what we did on the opposite side. We complete that on this side here. Okay, so nothing too complicated. It becomes easier now that we have kind of established our corners here. It looks a little bit wonky still, but it just straightens itself up as we go. So as you can see, our 2 corners here, and we're just going to continue to build around that. Okay, so what I will do again is I will go through all the way to the end here. So go ahead and finish your last cluster of 3 double crochets in this gap here, and then come back to the video, and then I'll show you how to finish it off and how to start the next row. And then I will show you maybe finishing this row and the next row, and after that I will have you guys work the rest of the rows by yourself. I will talk about how many rows I'm doing, and then you can obviously do the number of rows that you desire, but it's gonna be all based on the size and how wide you want it to be, how wide your hips are, and how loose or tight you want your skirt to be. But for now, let's just meet back when you get right here. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and completed the second row. So as you can see, this is how it looks like. Okay, and so to finish off the row here, we're going to work our next double crochet into the final stitch right here. So I'm just gonna go right into that gap here and do my last double crochet like that. Okay, and so to start the next row, I'm going to start with a chain of 3, turn, and then in that same gap here, we're going to do 2 more double crochets because our chain 3 counts as a double crochet. So it's gonna look something like that. And then I'm going to go into the next gap and complete a double crochet 3 times. So our cluster of 3 double crochets, and then into the next, another cluster of 3 double crochets. And then we just repeat what we have pretty much been doing all the way until we get back to the other side. So what I will ask you guys to do is complete this third row all on your own to the other side. So all you're doing is just doing your clusters of double crochets all around here. When you get to here, you will do 3 double crochets. You will skip right to the corner and do 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets, do 3 double crochets here, 3 double crochets here, go to the corner, do 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets, and then 3 double crochets, and then you just go all the way to the other end. Now for this end here, you're going to come and finish your 3 last double crochets here, and then come to the video so I can show you how to finish it off at the end here. And then I will talk about the sizing, especially the width, because we know the length is going to be a long skirt that goes all the way down. But for the width, I'm going to go ahead and talk to you about how you get that measurement and how you're able to do the amount of rows you need for one panel, because we have to do 2 panels. This is only our first one. How to do the length, the width of each panel, so that together they're going to come around the widest part of your hips. Okay, so we'll talk about that when I have finished this row, and then I will ask you guys to do actually, I don't think there's a need for you guys to come back. I think you could just go ahead and finish your the number of rows here, because all I would do here is after you do, so it would be like this. After you do your 3 double crochets here, you just go ahead and go into this gap and do 3 double crochets, and then chain 3, and then go into here and do 3 double chain 3, turn, and then go here and do 3 double crochets, go here and 3 double crochets, and then just continue that all the way again around, do your corners, come back and repeat the same thing. So here you will do your, after 3 double crochets here, you will do 1 double crochet here, then chain 2, chain 3, turn, and then just repeat what we just did here. So there's no need to come back and show you how to do another row, because you just repeat what you have just done here. And so for me, I'm gonna do 5 rows all together. So this is my 3rd row, so I'm gonna finish this and then do my 4th and then my 5th. And then when I have that completed, I'm gonna come back to the video and I'm gonna show you how to change the color, because after those I will change the color. Okay, now to talk about the sizes right now, because I'm not coming back until we finish that. For the sizes, what I did was I took my tape measure and I put it around the widest part of my hips. Okay, so the widest part of my hips measures to about 38 inches. Give and take 38, 40. Okay, so let's say we go with 40. I'm gonna need to do a panel that is half of that. So I need to have a panel that is 20 inches when I stretch the work out. Not too much, just a little bit. When you stretch it out a little bit, you need to be able to stretch it out to about 20 inches for this one panel. And then we're gonna complete a second panel that has the exact same measurements. And then when we put it together, I'm gonna accomplish my circumference of the widest part of my hips of about 40. Okay, so that is how you will do that. For the length, when you finish one panel, we will see, you can put it against yourself to see how long it is. But also don't forget that we have to do the band for this skirt, so it's probably gonna give and take about 2 to 3 more inches on top. So when you work your rows here in terms of the length, make sure you're also aware that for the length we may have to increase in the bottom. So which means we do, after we finish a panel like this, we may have to come to one of the sides here and increase by working ourselves this way to be able to get the length that we're looking for. But I will explain that in the next part of the project. But for now, finish the 5 rows or however many rows you need for this color, and then come back to the video. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and completed 5 rows of the off-white color here. Now the reason I did 5 rows is because this is together, so this side and this side, even though it's 5 rows, it's actually all together. So in my opinion, the way at least I logically theorized it is that I have 10 rows here, because I have 5 on this side, I have 5 on this side, I have 10 rows altogether. At least that's what I would like to make sure it looks like. Okay, so I just finished my last stitch here, which is the last for this last row. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut the yarn, because I'm gonna now change to the light blue, and then I'm gonna go ahead and do 10 rows of that. But it's gonna be different, because this is definitely gonna go more like this. So it's in the exterior of this, so you're physically doing 10 rows. So 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to 10. Not like the way we did this, because we're working from the middle and then just going around this like that. So I'm gonna show you here how to change the color. I will explain how many rows I do in this and how many rows I do in the navy blue, which is the dark blue, which is our last color. And then we will talk about how to join it eventually, and the 2 panels after we do the second one, and then how to do the band. Okay, so I'm just preparing my yarn here. Okay, so I'm gonna undo that last part of this last stitch. So for my double crochet there, instead of completing my 2 loops, I'm gonna leave the 2 loops open so I can bring in the blue like that. Okay, so now that I have the blue brought in, I'm gonna do my chain of 3. I'm gonna turn, and then I'm going to go right into this stitch here. So nothing changes. Oops. So nothing changes from this point on. We just do exactly what we have done for the previous rows. Okay, so this is pretty much like this row right here. Okay, so we have this gap here that we will fill in when we come back around for the second row. And then I go into the next gap here and complete 3 double crochets. Okay, then I'll go into the next gap and do 3 double crochets, and then I just continue all the way until I get back on the other side. Okay, so I'm gonna go all the way like this, and then do my corners, come all the way back here. I will do I will finish my 3 double crochets here, chain 3, do 2 more double crochets here, and then go here and do 3 double crochets, 3 double crochets, and I'm just gonna continue. So I'm not gonna show you how to do more rows in this color, because you pretty much repeat what you did in the white, except now you just have a different color, which is also why I wanted to come back, just to show you how to work, how to change the color, and then how many rows to do of the next color. Okay, so again, I'm gonna just stop crocheting here so I can explain it to you quick. So I'm going to do the half of the circumference of the widest part of my hips here, and I just incorporate a little bit of the stretch, not fully, just a little bit. Okay, so I'm anticipating that I will probably have about 14 to 15 inches like this when I finish all the 3 colors. So again, I'm doing 10 rows in this blue, and then I will do 5 rows in the next blue. The reason I'm doing 5 rows in the next blue is because when I have the 2 panels, I will have 5 rows of the blue, navy blue here, 5 rows of the navy blue here. When I join them together, I will have the 10 rows in the middle. So that's why I'm kind of putting my logic together. Okay, if you do need to add 6, 7 row because you do want your work to be a little bit wider, you can even do another couple of rows in a different color, maybe the white, just to kind of pop it up a little bit more. But for now, I'm doing just the 10 rows in this blue, and then 5 rows in the other blue, and then we'll come back, we'll look at it. If I do need to add more rows, then I'll do it at that time. Okay, but for now, go ahead and work pretty much on your work, and then come back when you're finished. For this part here, I just knot it, because as you can see, they're just kind of hanging here. I don't want it to unravel and then my work is kind of gone and I have to start over. So I will just do 2 knots here to make sure I keep this secure and it doesn't move from this point on. Okay, all right, so go ahead and work on this and come back to the video when you've completed the 10 rows in this light blue and the 5 rows in the navy blue. Okay, I'll see you guys then. Okay, my lovelies, so I have actually come back here to make a little bit of a correction. So the idea that I had was to do the blue with the 10 rows like this, and then do the navy blue with another 5 rows, and then we would work on extending the bottom. But then I just realized if I extend the bottom, it would be off to do I didn't know how to do the colors here, so I didn't know whether to do the light blue here and then the navy blue, or if I extend it, just do it with one color. So I decided that I would like to extend it with the blue color, light blue color here, and then I will work my rounds in the navy blue and then also extend it with that. So that's why I came back to make that correction here. You do have an option to just finish these rows, do your 5 rows in the navy blue, and then choose to extend this however you want. So you can extend it with the white and then the light blue and then the navy blue. But I have decided that I would like to come back and extend this here by doing the blue first, the light blue first, and then I will finish it off by extending it later with the navy blue. Okay, so as you can see, I just finished my 10th row here. So this is 10 rows here in this color. So what I will do to continue working this section here is that I will go ahead and do a corner. So I'll do a chain of 1 and I will do 3 more double crochets into this gap here, and that gives me my corner. And then I will go on ahead and just work a 3 double crochets here. So granny stitch, okay, and then I will just work the granny stitches in every of these gap going across, okay. And this would be my my first row of extending, and I will do 10 rows as well. So down here like this, I will do 10 rows in this color, and then I will go back and work my blue, navy blue, and then extend it later with the other navy blue downwards as well, okay. Oh, okay, does this color seem a little bit different to you guys? I just changed the color, but this seems to be a little bit darker. Let me just work a little bit more. It seems to be a tiny bit darker, which I don't understand because it's the same yarn, not necessarily from the same package, but same number, same color number and everything. So it looks like it's a little bit darker. I don't know if you guys see that, but I don't think I have a choice because this is a new package that I opened to continue the project. So yeah, so now we're in the middle. So as you can see, this is the middle part of our skirt, and we're just gonna go into that middle part and do our 3 double crochets into that gap like that. And then I will continue and pick up on the other side and do 3 double crochets. Okay, and then I'll pick up and go over here and do 3 double crochets. Okay, yeah, it definitely looks a little bit darker, but maybe it's just my eyes. But yeah, we will continue because if it is a tiny bit darker, I don't have a choice. Like I said, I just bought this new package to be able to finish the project, and where I get it, I cannot return it. So I will have no choice but to continue working with this here. Okay, so I'm just gonna work this row to the end, and then we'll do a second row together just so you can get the idea of how we do it, the extension down here, and then I will have you guys work on the next remaining rows. I'm gonna do 10 here just to be consistent. I have 10 here. I would like to do 10 there, and then after that we can go back to working with the navy blue. But just gonna get to the end here. I'm going really fast so I don't have to stop and then restart in a couple of seconds. Okay, so and then this is the final one here. So in this gap here, which is the chain 3 from this row that we did this way, we're going to work 3 double crochets, okay, like that. Okay, and then I'm going to chain 3 and turn, and then I'm going to work 3 double crochets right here, and then I'm going to work 3 double crochets in the next gap. So by this point here, you kind of get the idea. It's pretty much how we did the other side. There's no difference now. You just go ahead and work your granny stitches into every gap across, and then when you get to the end, which I will work with you guys here, so just work your crochets, double crochets here at the end. You're gonna end up doing 3 double crochets here, okay? So I will do that, and then I'll get back to you guys to start the next row, and then I will have you guys work the remaining rows, okay? See you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovely, so I have reached the end of this row here. So in this corner here, I'm just gonna go ahead and do my 3 double crochets, okay? And then I will chain 3 and turn, and then I will just continue to work my remaining rows, just constantly doing the same thing that we have done in the last 2 rows here. And then when I have my 10 rows, so obviously it's very nice and clean to read or to count because we have a different color here. So you will count, and when you have 10 rows here, you will go ahead and come back. I will show you how to change the color into the blue, navy blue, that we are going to finish the outlining with, and then I will have you guys work those number of rows as well before we have before we come back and kind of see how it looks like. If you're doing different number of rows based on your size, obviously you will probably either do a lot longer number of rows or a lot less, but either way, come back when you're done, and I will show you what to do for the next color. Okay, so I will see you guys in a bit. And I can definitely now tell that this is a tiny bit of a different shade. I don't know if you guys can see, but it's a tiny bit different in color here. And yeah, I don't know if it's just they just changed the formula a little bit in the dye, but it's coming up a little bit different, and it's literally the same exact package, the same number, the same yarn, and the same color number. So I'm not sure why it's different. All right, well, I'll see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have completed my 10 rows here for increasing the part of the skirt. So as you can see, this is my 10 rows in the blue, in the baby blue. And so now this is pretty much how it looks like. So it's even on this side here to this side here. So yeah, so now I'm gonna show you how to change into the navy blue, and then how we go ahead and work that. So I'll explain everything. So I'm just gonna not finish that last loop here, and I'm gonna bring in my blue. So I'm gonna cut the baby blue off first. So I'm just gonna cut it somewhere here, and then I'm gonna bring in the navy blue, and then we're gonna work pretty much this color the way we worked this blue color, the baby blue color, and then we're gonna increase just like we did it at the end. Okay, so I'm going to hold it like this, and then just bring in the navy blue to change the color like that. And then I'm gonna chain one, and then I'm going to go right into this gap here and complete 3 double crochets. Okay, so 1, 2, and 3, and then I'm gonna move right into this gap right here and complete, oops, I did not know I was off camera there, and I complete 3 double crochets. Okay, oof, oh la la. Okay, and then I'm gonna move into this gap here and complete 3 double crochets, and then move on to the next gap here and do the same thing. So I'm just gonna do this pretty much all along the side here, and then I'm gonna get to the corner here, and I will create my corner. So I'll do 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets, and then continue doing my granny stitches all across. And then the same thing here, I'll create a corner by doing 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets, and then continue the rest of it all the way to this side. So I will do my final 3 double crochets here, and then I'll chain 3 and then skip right to this section here, do 3 double crochets, 3 double crochets, and then go all the way back to go back around. Okay, and then I'm gonna do 5 rows like that. So the 5 rows like that, it's gonna be to finish off the sides, one of the panels here, and then I will do the second one. But before I finish that, I will come back to show you how the completed panel looks like, and then I will talk about starting the second one. But after you have completed these like this, you're gonna increase down here by 10 as well, between 5 and 10. So depending on how long your skirt gets, you can increase it by 10 or by 5. I will try either or, and then I'll come back because it's all about length related. If it's gonna be too long, then just do 5 rows in the bottom. If it's gonna be too long, too short, then you can do 10, just to stay consistent with the number of rows that we're doing for each part. Okay, so work these until you have your 5 rows completed, and then switch it over and increase in the bottom either by 5 or 10, or however many rows you want to increase it here by, and then come back. Okay, I will see you guys then. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and completed the first panel for our skirt here. So as you can see, I had pretty much increased the blue here, right? So I did the 10 rows in the blue after we did the 10 rows on each side, which is pretty much kind of looping around like this. And then I did the blue, but I only did 5 rows in the blue, and then I increased that by 10 on the bottom. Okay, so again, the reason I only did 5 here as opposed to 10 is because when we have our second panel and we put that second panel on this here, it's gonna then be the 10 row that we need, at least for the pattern, for me to kind of be a little bit equal, to be a little bit uniform. Okay, so that is what I have here. So this panel is pretty much done, so I'm gonna go ahead and just cut the yarn off here, and I'm gonna take my scissors. Okay, and I'm just gonna cut it somewhere here, not too much. Put my scissors away. Then I'm gonna do a slip knot just to kind of lock this guy in here so it doesn't come apart. Okay, so that's it. So I'm gonna put this panel on the side, and now I'm gonna start my second one. So to do the second one, you just have to rewind the video to where we started off here. So we started off in the middle here, and then we worked ourselves like this and around, and then our rows were just kind of going like this until we had the 10 rows in the middle here. Okay, and then after that you will change to the blue, light blue color, and then you will do 10 rows. So you're doing like this, just continuously moving yourself like this. When you have those 10 rows, you will cut your yarn, bring it over to this side, or maybe don't cut it because you will actually end up on one of these sides, and then just go like this and then do the 10 rows like here, and then change the color to the navy blue. Do 5 rows if you're following it exactly as I am, by the way, because if you're doing different sizes, then you will most likely do the number of rows that will suit your size. So for me, this is perfect because I need to get about 40, between 38 and 40 inches per for the circumference of the widest part of my hips, and this is only half of that. So if I can grab my tape measure, it's somewhere here, just give me a second. So I have my tape measure here. So if I measure without stretching it at all, I have about 16 inches. Okay, so 16 inches by another 16 inches, I come up to about 32 inches. But keep in mind these stretches, okay? So the rest of it is gonna be kind of made up by the stretch of the material, and that is if you want it to be a little bit on the tight side. If you want it to kind of fall loose, then you have to do the total inches per panel have to be the exact circumference of the widest part of your hips. So for me, if I had wanted to do about 40, then I would do these here to be 20 inches. So which means I would do a lot more rows here, whether it's to increase these colors to have more rows than they have, or whether to maybe even do 10 rows in the navy blue at the end, or just kind of do like a different way to get to my 20 inches for the one panel. But as you can see here, I have 16 because I want to have it kind of hugging me a little bit and not necessarily very loose. And for those of you who often ask what size the material is or the project is, I am between small and medium. So some things I may be able to do in a small, some things I may be able to do in a medium. So this here, I will probably call it more like a small for me because I'm going to make it hug me as opposed to it being loose. If I had done it so that it's loose, I would kind of put it more on the medium side. Okay, so that's it. I'm going to go ahead and put this on the side. I'm going to start my second panel. When I have both panels completed, I'm going to come back to the video and I'm going to show you guys how to join the 2 panels together and then how we will do our waistband. Okay, so you see you guys then. Okay, my lovelies, so I've gone ahead and completed my second panel as well. So this is my second here from the first one that we did together. And so now I have 2 panels that I will just have to join to be able to create our skirt. And so what I will do is I will put one facing down like this. So this is the way I'm going to determine what side I want to be the outside is just by where we started off here. So, and that way it's easy for me to remember. So where we started off, we should have a little bit of a string hanging. So I will make that the outside, the inside of my skirt, and then the other side that doesn't have that will be the inside, the outside of my skirt. So in this case here, for me to join it, I'm gonna put the first panel facing the wrong side, facing down, and then I'm gonna line up the second one so that the wrong side is facing up. And I'm gonna make sure also for this, the side that I'm keeping as the where we started off, that both sides are on the same side. So in this case here, I have this on my left and I have this on my left. So both of them are on my left, so that I end up pretty much joining them and they're going to kind of match up evenly. Okay, now that I have lined them up like this, I'm just gonna flip it because I'm right-handed, so I'm gonna start joining from here. So I will pretty much join my work from all the way here, and I'm gonna go all the way down to the bottom here. Okay, so this is where I'm gonna end up here, and then I will do the opposite side the same way. Okay, so I will do the same here, where I will join from here all the way down. Okay, now to join, I know maybe you guys have different ways that you may have learned on how to join, but I'm gonna just show you guys a little bit, and then I will have you guys join the whole thing. Okay, so I have my darning needle here that I have inserted the navy blue color yarn, which is what I will use to join this, just so it kind of disappears in within it. And so I'm just gonna line it up nice and even like this. And keep in mind, you have these granny stitches that you just make sure you line them up so that you kind of are not kind of making them, you know, a little bit wobbly, okay, or not lined up properly. So with that said, what I do is I go to, so this is the center, the corner center here. Instead of going directly into here, I'm gonna go into the stitch, the double crochet right before it. And then I'm gonna do the same on the other side. But on this side here, I'm gonna grab the double crochet that is on the other side of the single crochet, of the chain one in between. That way they line up nice and easy, okay? And then I'm gonna pull, okay? And then before I go any further, I will knot these here, just so I don't lose it, because if I don't, it will just kind of pull and then it will undo whatever I have done in terms of the joining here. And then now that I have it all nice lined up here, I'm gonna pretty much go into the next stitch, which is this stitch here, and I'm gonna pull. And make sure when you do this, you don't pull too tight, because you don't want your work on the other side to be wrinkled up when you flip it around. You want it to flip and kind of lay flat, as opposed to be a little bit kind of rigid, okay? Then I will go into the next. So I'll just grab both loops on each side, and then I will pull. Okay, just make sure you're not pulling it too much, and then I'll go into the next stitch here. So the good thing with this is all the stitches will line very nice and even, so you don't have to try and grab into places that you're not sure if it's a stitch or not. But this here lines up very nice and easy. So I just continue to go all the way down to the bottom of the skirt. Now I'm just gonna go quickly to the bottom here, because as you see, the bottom is kind of where we worked the rows like this to increase. So when you come to here, so right after here, you will start to see that these are not proper stitches here. All you will just do is just go here, for example, and complete that, go here and complete that, go here and complete that. So you're just gonna kind of grab gaps here, and don't make it too gappy, so don't leave too big of gaps. And then you just continue to do that in this section here, because as you can see here, we have stitches to follow, and then here we don't have quite the proper stitches to follow. But you're just gonna sew it so that all here is covered up, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and do this. I'm gonna do both sides, just so I can come back and show you guys how it looks when it's completed. But so yeah, go ahead and just join your work on both sides. By the time that you come back, you have a big tube, which is pretty much your skirt at that point. And then we will do I guess the band of the skirt, just to bring it in a little bit. So I will come and show you guys how to do that. It's very simple. I do the same one for most of the skirts that I do. So come back when you have completed that, and then I will show you how to start the band, and then we will pretty much work and finish the project. Okay, so I'll see you guys after you've joined both sides of your skirt. Okay, my lovelies, so I have just completed my sewing of the 2 panels. So as you can see, I just did my final stitch here. So I'm gonna go in just one more time and bring these around. This is my second time in the same spot, and when I do that, I just simulate a slip stitch. That way it locks this section in here. Okay, and then I'm just gonna cut these off somewhere here, and then this is all I have left from that, so that's good. And then yeah, so that's it. So I have pretty much joined everything. So now I just have this long tube that just goes across like this. And so the only thing that I have left is to do the band. So we have the side that we did 10 rows for the navy blue, and we have the side that has 5. So the reason we didn't increase on the side that's 5 is because I would like to work the band of the skirt on this side. Okay, it's also why I wanted this section here to be on the top, so that this is part of the hips, because the way you will wear this skirt is you're gonna wear it like this. Okay, it's big, so you may not see it fully on the camera, but you will obviously see it in the pictures that I show at the beginning. But like, you're gonna wear the skirt like this, so this is the middle. And it's also the reason why I wanted to not do 10 rows here. I did 5 and 5, so that there's 10 total, and then there's 10, and then there's 10 in the white on the side of the hips. But also, if you wanted to wear this skirt like this, so that this is one of the front part and then the other side is the back, it's something that you could just kind of move it around. So there's no particular rule on how to wear it. So you can have this as a front. I think it would be really nice to have this white stripe in the middle, and then you have the baby blue, and then the navy blue on the side. Okay, so absolutely okay with that. Anyways, so to start the next part of the project, I'm gonna flip this the right side in out, sorry. So we're just gonna flip the project like this. Okay, and then now that is on the right side up, I'm going to start working on the band, and this is obviously the waist here. So my waist is often smaller than obviously my hips, so we either gonna work with decreasing a little bit. So here, for example, okay, let's put it like this. And just because I just worked on it, it is showing at 18 inches, but it's actually a lot smaller than that, because when you work with your work, for example, here, I was probably stretching it a little bit as I go. Okay, so if I place the tape right here, I have about almost 18, it's just a little bit over 17. So then that means that for my waist, it's gonna be about 36 inches. All around here. It's actually not that bad, because I wear between 34 and 35 for my waist, so I don't actually have to increase it that much. I'm just measuring myself right now as I'm speaking. Yeah, a little bit low, sorry. My waist is about because I'm gonna wear it a little bit above my belly button, it's about 30 inches. Okay, so I need to bring these in a little bit. The stitch that we're gonna do next, it's gonna help bring it in. Just by nature of the way the stitch works, it brings it in a little bit. But there's also ways that you can decrease. So let's say you have really wide hips, but your waist is really tiny, then you can always decrease as we go here. And I will show you how you can decrease, because I think I will decrease mine a little bit, and so that will help with showing you guys how to do that in case you need to do it. If you don't need to decrease it, of course, you don't have to do anything besides just working your stitches as normal. Okay, all right, so now I have my navy blue here, which is the color that I want to do my band with. I'm gonna just do a slip knot first, just like that, and then I will just start in the section where we sewed and joined our work. I'm gonna go into this spot here, and then I'm gonna bring it in and just loop it through. So bring it through, and then I'm going to do a chain of 3, which simulates, or which is the same as a double crochet. We're just going to hold these 2 guys on this side so it doesn't interfere with me. And then, so now this comes out of this section here. So in the next stitch right here, I'm going to go right in and do another double crochet. And then in this stitch, I'm going to do a double crochet. And in this stitch, I'm going to do a double crochet. And then I just pretty much do a double crochet on every stitch around the band, okay, or around the waist part here of the skirt. Okay, so just very simple double crochet, is nothing too complicated. The next part is gonna be where we do something different, but also we will decrease there. Okay, so go ahead and just work your double crochets around. When you come to this section here, which is where we joined, you have a stitch here, so you will go into this stitch and then just go in the middle and then go to the stitch on the other side. So just go in the middle here once. If you do need to go twice because it's gappy, just go in twice, here and here, and then continue your double crochets. Okay, so continue doing this. Come back when you have come back to this section here, so I can show you how to do the next row and how to do the decreases as well. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have worked my double crochet stitches just around the band or the top of the skirt here. And as you can see, I just did my last one right in the middle here, and the other one was here. So I'm gonna go ahead and just slip stitch on top of the third chain, so our chain 3 that we did to begin this row. I'm just gonna go ahead and slip stitch right there. I did on the second one because I couldn't quite get to the third one there, but either way, whether you do it here or here, there's no problem with it. Okay, all right, so now for the second row, we're going to work our front post, back post double crochets, and also we're going to be decreasing a little bit. So I will show you how to do that. Okay, so each row is going to start with a chain 3, and then in the very next stitch, you're going to do a front post double crochet, and then you're going to do a back post double crochet in the next stitch, and then a front post double crochet in the next, and then a back post double crochet in the next, then a front post double crochet in the next, and then you just alternate like this. For example, if you're not decreasing, you just do this all the way around until you come back to where we started this row, which is right here, before we start the next row. Okay, but if you're decreasing, first of all, determine how much you think you need to decrease by. So for me, I think I'm gonna decrease every 10 stitches. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then this is my 9th one, which is a back post double crochet like that. And then now for my 10th, instead of just doing my front post here, I'm gonna do my front post in the 2. So I'm just gonna go ahead and grab these 2 stitches like this and complete my front post double crochet. So it's gonna look something like that. Okay, and then so that's my 10th. So then I start over. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then for my 10th, again, I grab two of these stitches like this. So I just go behind the 2 double crochets and complete my front post double crochet, and then I just repeat that all around. Now if you repeat that and at the end you have maybe, let's say, 11 to go or 12 to go, whatever to go, you don't have to do any decreases there. You could just finish off the row without doing any decreases. But what I will do, if I have an odd number here, I will come back before I finish just to show you guys how to finish off. Now this is how I want to decrease mine. If, for example, you want to decrease a lot more, so let's say you look at the waistband and you go, yeah, this is way too wide, I need to bring it in quite a lot, then you could probably decrease after every 5. So you do 1, 2, 3, 4 in the 5th, you take 2 together. 1, 2, 3, 4 in the 5th, do 2 together. It's literally just going to depend on how much you think you need to decrease. Okay, also, if you don't need to decrease too much and you think you just want to bring it in a tiny bit, you can just do that maybe after every 15 you decrease, after every 15 you decrease. Okay, so at that point it's just going to be based on how much you want to bring it in by. So I'm going to continue working this until I have just a few to go, and then I'll come back to show you how to finish that off, and then I'll show you how to start the second row of the front post back post double crochets. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have completed my first row here of the front post back post double crochets. So as you can see, I just did a front post decrease right here. Okay, so what I will do is I will just finish these two with just like the normal, in this one here, going to the back for back post double crochet, and then I'll just do a front post here. Okay, so this is what I was talking about when I said there's possibility that you don't have the the even number of stitches that would allow you to do exact numbers, but it's not a problem at all. So we just go like that, and then we slip stitch on top of the chain 3. So 1 2 3. If you can find it, I just go into the top here, I go into the second one, but for this one I'll go right here like that. Okay, so and then you start the second row, 1 2 3, and then now you just follow the pattern here. So for this here, this is the previous back post double crochet. I'm gonna make it a front post double crochet like that, and then I'll go into the next and do the back post double crochet, which is the previous front post double crochet, and then into the next. So you just pretty much follow the pattern here. So anything that looks like it's protruding to the back, you go and do the back loop like this, and anything that protrudes to the front, you just go ahead and go into it like this, and then you just continue these all around again, and then you just continue to build up your waistband. So I'm gonna do between 4 to 6 rows, and then when I have that completed, I'll come back. This is gonna snatch in a little bit more. I know with this first decrease it looks like that, but it's gonna snatch in a tiny bit more as you continue. And then as well, we can do a drawstring if we do need to bring our work a little bit more in on the waist side. Okay, but for now, do the number of rows that you need for the band, and then come back to the video. And it's also very possible that you make sure you measure to make sure it's not too long, because obviously the more you do the number of rows here, the more it increases the length of your skirt. So if you're making this skirt in a long, that goes all the way down to your, let's say ankles, and then you add a lot more, couple of inches up here, it may be a little bit too long. So just check that out. And then also you could just look to see if this is looking like it's enough of the band for you. So it just, at this point, you just decide how many rows you want to do, what is appropriate for your project, and then come back when that's done. Okay, so I will go ahead and do mine here, and then I'll come back when it's finished. In the meanwhile, I will weave in all the strings that are left. There's not too many here, but we'll just, whatever we have, we'll weave them all in, and then come back when the job is actually just nice and clean and finished. Okay, so I'll see you guys then. Okay, my lovelies, I've gone ahead and completed the whole project here pretty much. So as you can see, I did my waistband here, and I did 1 2 3 4 5 6 rows. So this is what I have here. Okay, so this is what we increased it by. And then as you can see, I also went ahead and did a long chain. I think I did about 250 chains, and then I just kind of weaved it in using my darning needle, and I just kind of weaved it in along the top of the band here. And as you can see, that is pretty much going to help me kind of bring it in a little bit. You just pull it like this, and then we'll tie it here. And it's something that you can remove and put it back on if you want to, but it's also something, if you don't need to use it, you don't need to use it. But I think it's cute like this. If you have any beads that you'd like to kind of decorate it with, you can put them here. I don't know what colors would go with this. Maybe finding something that is of these colors that we have already for the project. I think that would look really cute. So as you can also see, by just putting the band here, it means this is probably going to be the front, and the opposite side is the back, which is the exact same. But if not, you can also just have this as the back and just tie this in the back, and then the other side is the front. And the other way you can wear this as well is to actually have these sections here be the sides of your skirt. So this would be on each side of your hips, and then it goes all the way down. So there's multiple ways you can wear these, just so that you have a little bit of a versatile way to wear your skirt. Okay, yeah, but this is pretty much it here. I have, and also with the waistband, you can tie this on the side. There's nothing stopping you from having this kind of nicely knotted on the side here. Maybe do a bow on the side in case you try to turn, or you choose to turn your work, and so that you can wear it like this. So it's very beautiful. Okay, that's it. I had a lot of fun doing this one with you guys. Thank you so much for watching this video to the end. Please do not forget to ask me any questions in the comment section below, or just comment to say how you feel about the channel, how you feel about this project, give any advice if you want to, and things like that. And also don't forget to like, comment, and share. Yeah, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.